everybody, I'm Tabitha and I'm in my cozy little reading corner because I read 5 more books. So this set of 5 books that I'm about to review are the books that I consider bonus books for January. So review video number 1, which is already dropped on the channel, and you can find it, I'll drop the description down below, is all the books that I was requiring myself to read. So review requests, advanced reader copies. A lot of these ones were chosen by the book wheel. So if you don't know what the book wheel is, definitely make sure you're following me on Instagram. I'll drop the handle down below because I spin the wheel for bonus books. So you'll see how that goes. Let's get to the reviews. Ready? The next book I read in the month of January was The Nix by Nathan Hill. This is an adult age category historical fiction novel. It was published in 2016 by Knopf. It is 640 pages, and I listened to this one as an audiobook. Your synopsis: a poignant novel about a son, a mother who left him when he was young, and his search to uncover the secrets of her life. So what didn't I like about this one? This can actually get a fast review, so we're going to zoom right past this. So I'm going to tell you to check out Goodreads for the full list of what I didn't like or did like, and I'm just going to skip a few steps and jump to who do I think should read this one? Contemporary fans who like stories about families and all the complex relationships surrounding that, because that really makes up the main point of this novel. The family, how they interact with each other, how her decisions affect her son a generation later, things like that. As I think you'll see if you picked up this book, you'd agree with this, I would say. If you liked the movie Forrest Gump, I really think you might want what this book is trying to do even more than other people. So if you're a fan of Forrest Gump, I definitely think you should pick up The Nix. It's long, so it's the reason why I went audiobook with it, because it took me a long time to get through the audiobook, but I could take my time. So, give it a shot because the audiobook was well done. Anyway, my rating, I gave this one 3 stars. The rambling nature of this one sort of made it not for everyone. I don't think you're going to love it if you don't love that. But I do think it's a good book and it has a solid message at the end of the day about families, and the right reader's going to love it. So 3 stars for The Nix by Nathan Hill. The next book I read in the month of January was What If by Rebecca Donovan. This is, I would call it, a new adult age category contemporary novel. It was published in 2014 by Grand Central Publishing, and it is 360 pages. This was the physical TBR bonus book wheel spin for January. Your synopsis: Cal Logan is shocked to see Nicole Bentley at a coffee shop thousands of miles from his hometown because no one has seen or heard from Nicole in a year. Except this girl isn't Nicole. Her name is Niall, and she seems to have no idea who Cal is. But as Cal gets closer to falling for this girl, he's sure he's going to need to figure out what she's hiding. So what didn't I like about this one? Well, the first thing I can say I didn't like about this one, and I sort of hinted at it when I told you age category, is this one suffers from age category confusion. What I mean by that is this book is a perfect example of why indies and small presses keep screaming at us that new adult needs to be a thing in publishing. So normally we have teenage books that we call young adult, and then you have adult books. But we argue, small presses and indies argue, that there is a whole other category in there. It should be new adult. So it takes that coming of age story but puts it in an adult mindset where these are adults. These are people who are not teenagers, are not going to high school, things like that. This book fits that. These characters are college age students. They're adults, they're living on their own, but at the end of the day, this has a lot of coming of age sort of vibes, and I feel like this author tried to clean it up too much to let their traditional publisher market it as young adult, and that hurts it a lot. Would have been a better book if they hadn't had those wings clipped there and had been able to explore this book like an adult. Second thing I can say I didn't like about this one is there really, at the end of the day, is an unrealistic problem. So much of this book centers around the idea that these people never talk about the past or what they think. If you really thought this girl was Nicole, why aren't we asking her if she's Nicole? This book suffers from that same problem a lot of books do. We can fix the major problem if the characters just sit down and talk to each other. Third thing I can say I didn't like about this one is, unfortunately, it is a tiny bit predictable because I did figure out a big reveal a lot sooner than the author wanted me to. So if you don't care about that, you won't care. So what did I like about this one? The first thing I liked about this one is Niall herself. Although I thought things that I can't mention were blatantly obvious clues, I did like her. I liked the way she lived life. I loved her focus on other people and her sense of adventure and her I'm going to try everything once sort of mentality. I really, really liked that in a character, and I would have liked to see her get even more of a focus, if that makes sense. Second thing I can say I liked about this one is that the love story is cute and well done, which you might be shocked to hear me say because I'm not always a big romance fan. But this one is full of adorable lines about choosing each other, trusting each other, and even about getting consent, which I think for young adult or new adult books is incredibly important. It's a well-written love story at the end of the day. I liked that part. Third thing I can say I liked about this one is friendship is a big theme here, and I always like that. Friends will always be there for you, sort of seems to be the theme they're playing with, even when they mess up. So I kind of like that. I also like the idea that this book plays with the idea that you can walk away from your friends and they'll still be there when you choose to come back. I like that. I'm glad it was explored. I'm glad it was played out. Who do I think should read this one? I would say readers who like that first love feel in young adult books, but maybe want that for an older character, right? Maybe you didn't find your first love in high school. You want characters who are finding their first love as adults. Maybe you want that finding your first love to burn a little hotter. This book gives you that because, like I said, it really should have been new adult. I also think that readers who like a little mystery in their contemporary books, so if you think real life comes with a little mystery and you want to explore that, I mean, you're going to like this. Real people are mysterious. My rating, I gave this one 4 stars. At the end of the day, this is a contemporary romance, and it does that really, really well. If you like contemporary romance and you're interested in new adult, I definitely think you should get this book. So 4 stars for What If by Rebecca Donovan. The next book I read in the month of January was Craven, Manor by Darcy Coates. This is an adult age category horror novel. It was published in 2017 by Black Owl Books, which is an independent press, and it is 288 pages. This book was the bonus wheel spin for oldest on my TBR. Your synopsis. Daniel is desperate for a job, so when someone offers him room and board at an unusual Craven Manor, he takes it, even when that job appears to set off alarm bells from the moment Daniel arrives on the property. So I am going to do a fast review of this book, so if you want details of the specific things that I liked or didn't like, make sure you check out the full review on Goodreads to get all those details. But in the meantime, who do I think should read this one? If you want a fast read with a little horror vibe that doesn't take the horror too big, I think you might like this one more than I did. I also think if you're big into that aesthetic of the haunted house feel, but without being scared too much, you might really like this one. My rating, I gave this one 2 stars. I know, I'm sorry, but the predictability of this one made it incredibly problematic for me because I just wanted something different, and I don't like being not surprised at all. I don't like having no surprises. But if you really dig the vibe of the house, I think you might feel differently. I just wanted to be scared more, and I didn't want to have so much of it figured out. So for me, I'm going 2 stars for Craven Manor by Darcy Coates. The next book I read in the month of January is Magical Girl Apocalypse Volume 1 by Kentaro Sato. This is a young adult age category manga, but it's like horror manga. It was published in 2014 by 7 Seas Entertainment. It is 192 pages. And in full honesty, I snuck this one in while waiting for social media to vote on the wheel spin for social media pick for me. Your synopsis. High schooler Kai is stuck in a rut living his boring life until one day a mysterious girl shows up at school and starts bludgeoning everyone in her path. How will Kai escape this murderous little girl? So I'm actually going to do a fast review of this one, and the reason why is because at this point I feel like if you don't love manga, it doesn't matter what I say, you wouldn't even touch this. So I do just want to say, if you want my full review on how I felt about this one, highs and lows, don't forget to check out Goodreads. But who do I think should read this one? If you want a quick horror story that will gross you out and interest you and you're not afraid of horror, try this one because it really was good. I also want to say, if you want to try manga, but like horror, this is a good one, I think. Definitely. I will say if you're a die-hard manga fan, I have a feeling you might have problems with this one, but I don't only exclusively read manga, so I could be wrong about that. My rating, I gave this one 4 stars, actually, because as horror manga goes, I think this one is exactly what it set out to be, and I feel like I may actually go pick up the second book in this series. It scared me, and the drawing was great, and what more can you ask for? So 4 stars for Magical Girl Apocalypse, Volume 1 by Kentaro Sato. The next and final book I read for the month of January was Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This is an adult age category science fiction, sort of a dystopian. It was originally published by Sato and Windus in 1932, and it is 288 pages. The book wheel told me to let social media choose my book for this one, and social media voted for me to read my husband's absolute favorite book of all time, Brave New World. Your synopsis: set in a futuristic world where genetically modified citizens are born into a hierarchy and have their lives completely controlled by the science that keeps them happy, no one questions their world until Bernard. So what didn't I like about this one? Okay, without spoilers, here's what I can say. I wanted a little more humility out of one character who goes from being teased, like bottom of the totem pole, to being top of the heap of the citizens in the society, right? So I wanted that humility to stay. I don't want to spoil who it was, but I guess I just wanted him to remember his roots when he was on top. I wanted him to like struggle internally with that feeling. I just felt like I was missing that battle, and it made him a weaker character. The only other thing I can say that I didn't like is that you will have some slightly uncomfortable moments when you're reading this one, especially if you're a little squeamish regarding sexual situations. It's intentional by the author, but it's worth mentioning. So if that kind of thing makes you uncomfortable, just, embrace the discomfort. So what did I like about this one? Okay, so big lessons, because oh my God, I love big lessons. I do. I love lessons in my books, and this one delivers on a big, big level. You'll want to buddy read this one, I think, or at least have a friend that you can talk to about what you're reading, because you'll have thoughts. Science, like overreaching, just because we can doesn't mean we should. Bullying, societal norms. I mean, these are all lessons and conversations you're going to want to have. I love them. And lessons heavily influence my rating. It would be impossible for me to rate this without considering how much those lessons delivered. So just be ready for that. Second thing I can say I liked about this one is that ending. Ugh, I mean, woo. So I talk about all the time how I adore when authors take big risks, right? Well, for this one, he did that. I mean, this isn't the ending you wanted. It's not what you were hoping for. It's a risk, and I loved it. So as a side warning, if you and I don't like the same kind of endings and you want that warm, fuzzy feeling, just be aware. Third thing I can say I liked about this one is the world building. Some dystopian books choose to make you uncomfortable and unsure of the world building of the world right from page one, like Hunger Games, right? You're uncomfortable in that world right from the beginning. For a few pages in this book, that's not the case. In this book, for a few pages, they seem to have it figured out. That leads you to feeling just as shocked and confused and almost like the rug was pulled out from under you when that other shoe drops. It's a great technique, and I do not think every author could pull it off. So that was incredibly impressive to see, even from a dystopian, which I feel like I've read so much of. So it was really cool. Who do I think should read this one? If you haven't read this book and you say that you were into dystopian books, I mean, I don't know why I waited, and I'm not sure why you did either. Pick it up. If you are even at all claiming to ever be a fan of dystopian, you got to start with this one. It came out in 1932. It's one of the originals. We got to go with it. I also think if you like when science is kept in your science fiction, I think you should give this one a shot. It does a pretty decent job of explaining science that didn't even exist in 1932, but in a way that still holds up even with all we know. And that by itself is pretty epic. So that's cool. I also want to say that if, of course, if you're fans of big lessons in your books, you should be reading or probably rereading this one right now. Just go get it. My rating? I gave this one 5 stars. I really did, because it's the rating I reserve for books that I feel are so important that I just really think you should be reading them, even if this isn't your favorite genre. And this does that. You should be reading it. It still feels important. It still feels relevant. And I just love the risks that he took and the expertise behind this writing. So I'm going 5 stars for Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. And actually, that's my only 5-star rating in January. So if you know other books that remind you of Brave New World, or what I just said I liked about Brave New World, so big lessons and authors who take risks and things like that, make sure you drop in the comments and let me know, because I'm going to be looking for your recommended titles anytime recommended comes up on that bonus wheel. All right, my friends, that is it for me and the 5 bonus books that I read in January, which means I read 10 for January. Good for me. Make sure you're following me on Instagram so you don't miss when I'm doing all those bonus wheel spins for February. Drop a comment to let me know you're still here. Hit subscribe and tap that little bell so you know when I'm back. Keep plotting the path to your own dreams, and I will see you next time. Bye!